Good evening. So, it's been quite an interesting day. So let me tell you about the unexpected news that happened. So, earlier this morning, I was working on more textures or repaints or whatever of aircraft for the flight simulator. Sitting there minding my own business, and I uploaded another repaint to the website where people go and download them, and I got an email, which I hadn't been getting emails whenever they approved one. So I thought, well, we'll see. When I got done doing what I was doing, I went over to my email, and oddly enough, it was a email from the YouTube partnership program accepting us. And here's the odd thing about that. It wasn't that long ago that we had a strike. And that strike isn't up until November 22nd. And so how the hell that happened, I have no idea. But I appreciate it. So anyway, it's not going to change anything here at all. I'm going to be me. And we did the same thing before when we were monetized and nothing changed. I just was proving a point that we weren't about that. And we're not about that. But if we can raise a little bit of funds to be able to get different things so I could do how-to videos and stuff like that, hell, we'll do it. So I'm game for that. Like I said, I'm willing to do anything or teach anything that I can, and that all takes funds. So anyway, it is what it is. I am shocked that they approved us. Like I said, I didn't expect that we'd even have an opportunity until the end of November, and I was under the impression that then I would have to apply again. And so, I don't know. I have no idea what's going on. The strike's still there, so who knows? So anyway, that was the surprising news. Other than that, as far as news, throughout the day, it has just been stupid, insane. All kinds of stuff coming in from everywhere. So we'll get to that momentarily. This morning, and it was right after the monetization thing, the email came. I wrote down the title of this video. It just came to my mind, and it's kind of interesting because I thought about it. I wrote it down, and my thoughts about it were largely about the preppers and how there's a lot of preppers that try to mimic one another in one way or another. A lot of preppers that think and I'll call it mainstream preppers, which we're going to get to that. There's actually a better title for it. We'll get to that in a second. About how they can steer people wrong. And, it's oddly enough because Bear Independent put out a video today, and I'll have to look and see what his video was titled. His video is titled Pop Culture Preppers and Bad Info. And that's what I was saying. He has the better title for it, Pop Culture Preppers. Folks, be careful who you get information from. Some of it is sound, some of it's not, some of it's just opinion. And you have to be very mindful of that. I don't know everything about everything, and I don't talk about the things that I don't know about, and if I do even get close to that edge, I make sure folks know. I am a stickler about misinformation. So anyway, just be careful of where you get your information, who you get your information from. Some of the channels out there are really seriously only in it for the monetary gain or the personal gain, meaning they just like attention. You got to be weary of that. Pardon me. Let me have a sip of coffee. It's not your interest necessarily that they have in mind. For instance, let me give you an example. Let's say they promote some type of equipment, and we don't have to give specifics, I don't think. Let's just say they promote some type of equipment. Let's just say it's a brand name, and somebody could have done so much better by getting something that didn't have the fancy name that was at least as good, if not better, and saved a ton of money to be able to put towards other things as well. There's a lot of people that will do that. They'll do essentially that. They'll see one of the prepping channels that they look up to go out and spend a load of money on a particular item, and they will go out and do it, even though it's not necessary to spend that kind of money on whatever kind of item it is. What they call solar generators, the battery banks, the power boxes. I can't call them a solar generator because it's not. But anyway, that's a big one. You don't have to go out and get the fancy names to have a good one. You just simply don't. There are a lot of good manufacturers out there, and a lot of them would surprise you with what they offer. And even that little bitty one that I've got, that Go Power Plus, I did a video where I took that apart and showed a visual inspection of the inside of it. I was highly impressed with the quality control of that. So highly impressed. But anyway, and that was a cheap little unit. So my little Rock Pals wannabe, my Florian Rock Pals wannabe, I'm going to be doing a video of replacing that USB port here real shortly. I got everything to do it now. Anyway, that's another thing. Do they have the Goal Zero name on them? Nope. Do they have the Blue Eddy name on them? Nope. But have they served me perfectly fine? Absolutely. And didn't cost anywhere near. Now, mind you, I'm talking about size for size, pound for pound, so to speak. I'm not talking about some 1500 watt Blue Eddy against my 300 watt Rock Pals wannabe. But anyway, you have to be weary of that stuff, because that money, if it's an individual, like we aren't made of money. If it's folks like us, that's something like that's a huge investment. And so if we could save a chunk of money on that and put towards something else, more like food, that would be a really good thing. So that's what I'm saying. You have to be careful. That and many, many other ways. Just bad advice in general. I don't know. I'm trying not to give specific examples because I'm really not trying to run any one specific into the ground. There's several of them. Like I say, and it should be obvious that they don't have people's interest in mind, but it's not, unfortunately. It is what it is. Don't try to keep up getting the latest and greatest and stuff like that. Unless you just have the money. But don't worry about doing that. Make sure you're tying up loose ends, because I'm telling you, things are getting really stupid. I think it was 10:30 this morning, and I hadn't even started putting out the headlines yet. I don't know. I just wasn't. I was playing around with doing paints for the flight sim, and so then I just started doing the putting out headlines, and there was just over 40 headlines at that time, and that is a considerable amount more than normal. So, and then throughout the day there was quite a few. So there was one or two shootings today. I know there was a shooting at a school. I think there was another shooting too, but not. I don't know that it was in the U.S. It might have been somewhere else. But yeah, I mean, just absolute craziness everywhere. So, like I told you, I've been saying, hang on, because it's gonna get real bumpy, and it's gonna just slowly escalate. Hope you're wearing your escalator shoes. Anyway, um, I I don't even know where to go with I don't want to get into specifics or anything like that because I don't want to run anybody into the ground. But folks, you've got people out there that just they have one interest, and that's pumping out content to get people's interest, to get clicks. Some of them use clickbait titles. Some of them use real super fancy thumbnails, and some of them, themselves present themselves really fancy. That don't mean they know much about survival. I this is something. This is a mindset, and this is a lifestyle that I've lived for a very long time. And there's a lot of Johnny come latelys that are jumping out there, and they look good on YouTube. But I'm telling you, there's a whole lot about actual surviving that they don't know. Like I said, I've been doing this a long time. There's a whole hell of a lot of it I don't know. Plain and simple. No one person can do it all. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are some individuals that have been well trained that could literally survive in the woods on their own. However, for the majority, that's not the case. My concern is people are going to take some of this bad advice, or people are going to see a lack of these other individuals doing things, and then feeling at ease with not doing it as well. Again, trying not to call out any particular channels or anything like that. And I'm trying to keep it broad, and the reason why is because it all applies to many different possibilities. Just watch who you choose to lead you, and by no means do I want to lead anybody. But there are a lot of people that seem to be looking to YouTube channels for leadership, and I would advise against that, even against doing that with our channel. That's not what we're here for. There's a lot of misinformation out there, and there hasn't been anything in particular or anything like that like today or yesterday or anything like that brought this on. But I did think it was interesting that Bear put out a video essentially on the same lines the same day that I was going to talk about it. Anyway, be careful with it. A lot of misinformation, and like I say, I'm worried people would be hesitant, like for instance, to move, and that could be in any way, shape, or form. Whether it be physical move or move on getting preps taken care of, or however. Just be mindful of that stuff. Lot of Johnny come latelys. So, and that's, I think, one of the things that I recognize in a lot of them. You know, the experience, the wisdom. It's just not there. And like I've said a number of times, and Bear said something very, very similar. That these are folks that read a couple of pages on the internet, do very little to actually gain information, knowledge, but they have zero experience. And that's, I mentioned one example one time, and I said, hey, it was somebody that was comparing, and I'll just say they were comparing like leather with kydex, right? And I'm not going to call them out, but in the video, they showed a couple of examples, and both examples, I could tell you that neither belt looked like it would been worn a dozen times. And how in the hell would you know which would be the best to use if you haven't really used it? And you could tell. If you want to learn stuff like that, go to places like Bear, because you know what? He uses that stuff on the daily. So be careful of where you get your information, your knowledge from. And, I'm not saying one way or another. I see advantages on that particular topic. I see advantages to both kydex and leather. In some cases, I see much more advantages to the kydex. So, here's the thing of it. Are we going to be alive long enough to wear out either one? We need to be realistic with this stuff. So, there's a lot of stuff that people fret over, especially when it comes to how they look. Nah, you need to make sure you got your house in order. That's where your focus needs to be. Make sure your house is in order. Forget all the fancy stuff. I mean, if you can, sure, get it. I mean, hell, if I was loaded with money, sure, I'd have a bunker. Like right under. Well, I'd have to have my own property, but nonetheless, if I had the money, it is what it is. And it's always easy to say, well, build a bunker. Yeah, loan me a couple million. Oh man. Anyway, I'm just gonna jump to headlines and get headlines out of the way, and get the hell out of the way myself, and relax for the rest of the evening. I don't plan on doing anything with getting more paint jobs out for the flight sim tomorrow necessarily. I've got one done I may put out. It's already done, so just got to package up and upload it. So, but it's for a different plane, so we shall see. Yeah, other than that, I don't know. Let me get to some headlines. All right. Let me have a sip of tea here. There is a fly that is extremely annoying. I'm telling you, and I think it knows that I'm talking about it or something. Anyway, Let's see. All these are from what I put out today. North Korea wades into AUKUS row, blasts U.S. for fueling nuclear arms race and backstabbing allies. How do you like that? 6 killed after shooter opens fire at Russian university. Shocking footage shows students jumping from windows in Perm. That was the other shooting that I was talking about. There's one in the U.S. as well. Asia Pacific stock markets sink on concerns around Evergrande bankruptcy. Putin's party declares victory in Russian elections, insists it will retain 2/3 majority after polls show opposition gains. Outraged players on social media over mandate flouting maskless Emmys, while Seth Rogen jokes, "What are we doing?" Iran unveils new bomb-detecting robots in latest show of military strength. More than 20 foreign NGOs tied to interfere in Russia's elections and should now be banned from country, top Moscow lawmakers claim. A European energy crisis could get very ugly with winter coming and EU delaying Russian gas supplies. North Korea slams South's sloppy submarine missile launch as self-comforting and says Seoul set to ruin peninsula's peace. Qatar is, like I say, it's insane, and it's all over. I've said at the very beginning that the news was coming from all over. This is insane already, just how many different areas of news that we've covered. And it gets crazier. Qatar is trying to impose mandatory vaccinations on footballers who take part in the 2022 World Cup, says a report. Let's see. Our love of France is inredactable. I think it's ineradicable. I guess it's ineradicable. I've never heard the word before, but it says UK Prime Minister Johnson tries to placate furious Paris amid submarine